Hey, Joan. Okay, I watched your video, and definitely little Ferris Mueller is not a happy little mule. He is very suspicious, and with it is kind of a hard edge. There's suspicious and flighty. He is suspicious and fighty. You know what I mean? He's not totally fighty, but you can tell he just really is on guard. So one of the things I like that you and Jackie talked about in the comment, but one of the things you're also doing, you're asking him to do something all the time. So you're not saying, just stand here with me and be calm. You're saying target, target, target. So what that creates, this is why in the very beginning, I say, do not target. First of all, work on just the relaxation and keep the head away. But a lot of people have learned to target right off the bat, but we miss a very important element when we go directly to targeting oftentimes, and that is the relaxation and the not doing anything. So then pretty soon they're paying more attention to the target and the food than actually the click, and so the click kind of can be negated in its value, and so it's not as effective as communication tool. But also what it does, it skips over the manners all the time, as well as that relaxation is really the component I'm really looking for. I want the default behavior when in doubt. So what they start learning is it's do something. This whole process is doing something, an activity. So it's harder to stop and harder to slow down. And so a lot of times it can go into tension. So what I really like is if we can slow down and say, just relax. There's nothing to be done here. I'm not coming at you. I don't want you doing anything. I want you to soften and relax. So I like the idea that you and Jackie talked about of being on the ground, but because seeing particularly that one moment where Ferris Mueller turned and kicked out when your little donkey came up, but it was one of those dangerous situations. It's like with zebras. You can't just go sitting on or Somali wild asses. You can't go sitting on the ground right away, because a lot of times they can turn and kick and run, and then so you have to do it in a protected contact way. So doing it on the other side of the gate would be one thing, and then moving maybe to the other side of a fence where it's a little less protected contact, but start with the gate first. And it may help him to feel safer because you're not in the same area, which may also feel like you're not about to touch me, which the touching clearly made him more anxious. So for now, what I would like to see, usually the first thing I want to see them doing is happily following you and not following a target. But when you move, they're like, hey, where are you going? I'm with you, I'm with you, I'm with you, I'm with you. One of the things that you can do that's very powerful. Okay, so wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. So one of the first things I want to see is see them following you, following you, following you. But first, what we need to get is some relaxation from this little guy, because he is tense, and the tail's ringing, and he's just thinking this is not a fun thing to do, and I have to do it, and I don't want to do it, so it's in a bad cycle. So I do the sitting on the ground outside the gate, and I do everything I don't squat, I sit. I sit Indian style, that everything about me says I'm going nowhere, I have no intention, nothing is going to happen here, I'm just going to feed you when you look relaxed. And so that's where I'd start with him. So sit down, Indian style, you can sit with your phone, and when he kind of feels relaxed, you can click and feed, click and feed, click and feed, and then move over a little bit and sit and relax, and click and feed. And then when it gets a little bit better, I'd go to that part of the fence but start with the gate till he's just totally relaxed. And then as an intermittent step, I would go to that part of the gate where it's not part of the gate, it's part of the fence, but there's bigger gaps in that part of the fence. So it's a little less protected contact, but I would only go there after I've done for days multiple sessions of sitting relaxed with the kind of a fuller gate as protection. And when that's really good, and he's really relaxed, and you come up and he's like, hey, happy to see you. Then I would move to the other part of the fence where it's a little less protected contact. When that happens, I would go to the inside. But safety is first and foremost. So you must not progress until each level feels like he's totally relaxed. You're not seeing the moments of kicking and angsty. But when he's just totally like, okay, I'm just good, I'm here, I'm relaxed. Then I go to that other part of the fence until he says, okay, I'm great, I'm here, I'm relaxed. Until you can go inside and he says, yeah, I'm great, I'm here, I'm relaxed. Then I would start the standing. But what I would do is I would do that disengaged feeling, like with somebody who I think he gets too intense. I would use the disengaged for you a little bit when you're sitting outside of the fence and the gate, because I want him to feel like you have no intention. So I would just relax a little bit until he's like, well, I guess we're not doing anything. And he kind of softens. And then I'd click and feed. And so just waiting him for soften. But in the beginning, he may go through a little bit of stuff first. So I just kind of wait till he softens, wait till he softens. So he needs to feel like you don't have an agenda. And then when you do get better and you're inside and he comes up and you may just need to kind of slump your shoulders a little bit, says, I have no intention, we're not doing anything. So I wouldn't use the target yet. I would just say, hey, I'm with you. When he looks soft, I'd click feed and take 2 steps away. And then when he softens again, I'd click feed and take 2 steps away. As he softens again, I'd click feed if he stays soft, and then take 2 steps away. So what you're trying to do is create a sense of following you, but you're also rewarding him you're using negative reinforcement in this capacity, because what you're doing is saying, I'm going to feed you when you're soft, but what is he suspecting? That you're going to do something, he has to do something, you're going to touch him, which makes him really upset. So what you're going to do instead is say, and I'm taking my aversive self 2 steps away. So he starts to learn, well, I can make the human go away too. So it kind of becomes a bit where you put him in a little bit more control. So as he takes the food in a soft way and then you walk away, he goes, well, wait, I thought you were going to try and touch me now. So he's defensive about the touching. So I would not try to touch him for a while. And I also would not have him doing stuff the entire time. He needs to learn to slow it down a little bit and relax, because if everything is doing, like touch target, click feed, touch target, click feed, target, touch, click feed, then it starts to become this working situation. And there's another thing that I use when I first do the bridge conditioning that is really, really powerful for kind of creating some relaxation, is while I give him that first a big handful of food. So I click, I give them a big handful of food, and you kind of see they're just eating the food. They're not seeking yet. They're not angry yet. They're not tense yet. A lot of times they're just eating the food. When they're eating that plate, and you can even see eyes kind of blinking slower and just looking like, yeah, I'm busy right now. I'm not trying to figure out how to get more or what you're going to do. I'm not worried about any of that. I'm just enjoying my food. In that moment, I click and feed again. Because what you're capturing, what you're clicking, is a good mental state, a good demeanor. And then you're delivering more food. And they're like, oh, okay. So they haven't gone back into this active seeking mode. They're just in a place where they're like, oh, I'm just enjoying the fruits of my labor. And so then as I do that a few times, and then I let them kind of sort it out again, and then I might walk a step or two, and then I build that up again. So use those moments of relaxation when he's chewing to bridge and feed relaxation. So it is something that really, I use it right off the bat. So it kind of really minimizes that seeking. So instead of a do, it's a much more relaxed kind of, gosh, this is quite fruitful. This is easy. So we want to kind of break that up. So that's one of the tools that you may find is useful in those moments when you do feed it. Give him a big handful. Clearly, you got to use something that he can have a lot of in his diet, but don't be stingy. If you're stingy with it, it can add to that kind of tenseness and seeking. So you may just need to find some grass hay pellets or hay stretcher pellets or whatever. But anyway, so those are the immediate steps I would take. As you get further along, we'll talk about how to get to the touching thing. But for now, I would not try to touch him at all. Instead, I would have him completely following you and trying to thinking that you're okay. So relaxation is first and foremost. You start with the protected contact, because there's going to be periods where he doesn't understand why you're not doing something, and he's going to get a little frustrated. So being outside of that gate is going to be the best thing you can do. Being on the ground says I have no intention of doing things, may make the lesson a little more clear for him and a little less defensive. So those are the places I would start off. Keep us posted and let us know how it's going. Okay, good luck there, Joan. Keep us posted. I'll look forward to your next post. Bye.